HarperCollins presents It's Complicated, Collected Confessions of Messy Modern Love by Philippa Found, read by Diana Vickers.
For my best friend Lucy, I wish you were here. For Tiggs and Romy. And for anyone who ever thought they were the only one to feel that way. You're not. Swipe right. Introduction. If you've ever found yourself alone at 2 a.m. checking your ex's social media or their new partner's LinkedIn because it's the only social profile you can access, or if you've been having sex with your partner knowing they're making love and you're making plans to leave, or if you can't stop thinking about the one who broke your heart a decade ago, or if everyone thinks you're the perfect couple but you haven't had sex for years, or if you're swiping to fill a void, or if you know you'll still drop everything for them, even though you know you're just an option for them, then you've probably felt a smarting of shame. That burning, poisonous, suffocating feeling that there is something deeply, uniquely wrong with you, with your desires, or your lack of desires, or your inability to move on, your inability to be the person that you think you should be. But let me tell you something radical. Your darkest secrets, your most repulsively shameful thoughts, feelings and behaviours, you're not alone in them. They're normal. I know this because on the 7th of May 2020, in the depths of global lockdown, I created a website, lockdownlovestories.com, which allowed people to anonymously submit their true stories of how lockdown had affected their relationships. I'd believed the shift in relationships would be monumental. Couples, friends and families forced to suddenly separate or quarantine together for an unknown amount of time. Single people living without touch. The reality of our relationships that we'd previously been able to distract ourselves from, now confronting us, and amplified. I wanted to tell that story, to create a time capsule of a moment in history, a collective portrait of love in extreme circumstances. But more than this, I wanted to alleviate the subsidiary shame of all the heartbreak, loss and loneliness people might experience, and to counter the insidious damage of all the filtered, curated edits of social media's life highlights and #couples goals by creating a platform for sharing something a little more real. I wanted to show others that they weren't the only ones going through it. As an artist and writer, my practice explores desire, shame, and millennial miscommunications and misinterpretations. It is rooted in the belief that autobiography and storytelling can be used as a radical act to counter the oppression of shame, which can silence our messy, complex, but actually completely normal experiences. To counter shame, you need two things: a safe space to express how you're feeling, and you also need to be able to see that your experiences are not unique. There needs to be an acceptance that your experience is universal, that others are feeling the same way you are. You need to know that what you're feeling is not weird or wrong, that you are not fundamentally weird or wrong. That is what shame is, the belief that there is something uniquely wrong with you. Shame grows in silence. If met with the words, "me too," shame diminishes. Sharing helps. Recognition helps more. My website allowed anyone to submit their story anonymously, with no trace of where it had come from, like a Catholic confession, where there's no need to show your face, or therapy, without the financial barrier. It was somewhere you were able to access other people's therapy sessions too, because every story submitted was published anonymously on the website. More than 1,500 stories were shared on the site, and just over 250 of those stories are brought together here in It's Complicated. These are real, everyday people's unedited, raw, intimate, true stories of love and relationships. Many a testimony to the endurance of human connection, even in the most disconnected of circumstances. What is most apparent is that all these stories tell us how it feels to love, in all its complex, sticky messiness. How it feels to fall in love, to fall out of love, to still wonder why many years after a breakup, to pretend to be totally cool over text while you're crying in the back of the Uber, to negate your needs because you're holding out hope. These
Sample complete. Ready to continue?